Hey everyone, so I'm in Ellensburg right now, actually. My first time here in over a month. I haven't been able to find time to escape. But it is pouring over in Seattle, and I find it very helpful for my seasonal depression to sometimes chase some good weather. Uh, I downloaded a computer program called Weathercast that constantly shows the weather map, so I know which direction to go to get out of it. But it wasn't just weather that got me really depressed. There were a couple events at my workplace and in my life in general that really showed how unfair our society can be at times. So I work at a university right now, and I have a couple coworkers who also have restricted diets. Not for health reasons, though. One of them is a Muslim, and actually I have a funny story about the restricted diets of Muslims. I used to have a classmate who was also Muslim, and one day I ran into him while shopping at a grocery store. We were living in Rochester, New York, and there was a grocery store called Wegmans, and my classmate, his name is Mohammed. He comes running up to me and wants to show me something. And he says, "Look at that guy." He pointed to some guy at the checkout line. "Look at that guy." I said, "Yeah, what's up?" And he says, "He's committing 3 sins. He's buying pork and beer, and he's paying for all that with a credit card. And pork and beer are obviously very bad for you, according to Muslims. And Muslims are really against going into debt. So Muhammad was saying that this guy is committing 3 sins, and he's very smug about it. You know, most Muslims I know, they don't eat pork, they don't drink beer, they don't use a credit card, but they're not smug about it. Muhammad was especially smug about not doing those things, and that was good. He should call the Dave Ramsey show, because he was really smug about not using credit cards like Dave Ramsey. But, okay, so I have a few coworkers who are Muslim, and nobody would think about pushing food onto them, right? We have parties involved that have alcohol in them, and if I remember correctly, some people don't even want to send the invitations to the Muslim people if alcohol is going to be involved. But nobody would push food on them. I have a few coworkers who are Muslim, and nobody wants to push food on them. But when I go to a party and I tell people that I haven't drank soda in 17 years, people think it's okay to tell me that an occasional soda won't kill me or anything. In the past, I used to defend myself. Nowadays, I say I'm not interested anymore. But people really push. And this would not be a problem if this were just a social setting, right? If I go to a backgammon club, or if I go on a date and somebody pushes me, yeah, I probably should explain myself, because, you know, if we're gonna, especially on a date, right, if we're gonna be compatible, we should know each other inside and out. That's fine. At a workplace, I don't want to expose all my little weaknesses, right? And that just really incensed me that people would push that far. You know, if people say, you know, for example, one of the tough challenges is when somebody spends a lot of time and effort in preparing a meal. Usually what I'll do is I'll admire the artwork and the thought process into it. I just won't eat it. I mean, it's great. I'll even take some good pictures of it. See, this is my camera right here. Let's see what I could... See, I'm always amazed how far I can zoom in, although if I'm in video mode, that might be tricky. So usually I'll let my camera do the eating for me if somebody put a lot of time and effort into preparing a meal, and I'll try to put my input in other ways. You know, I'll talk about my computer games. I'll talk about astronomy. I'll talk about just anything else except for putting the food in my mouth, right? Or sometimes people will ask me, "Well, what's wrong with my food?" And if I can sense that they're interested in learning about how to prepare healthy meals, maybe I'll go in that direction. That's a tough one, though. That's a tough one. You can see why food is so challenging. You know, I liken it to, you know, if you think about it, what are some other things we do with our bodies? Some people like to have sex, right? Some people take prescription drugs. Those things are very private, but for some reason food falls into those categories, but it's very public. So that's why it's such a weird topic at times, especially if it's in the workplace, right? I had another incident that incensed me earlier this month, which prompted me to leave the Seattle area for a weekend. What had happened was I got an invitation to go to a friend's wedding, and at first I got excited. I want to meet. I've never gone to a wedding before, actually. I've looked at invitations before. I've never gone, and I thought maybe I could go there to meet people. And when I looked carefully at the invitation, there was a link to a gift registry. I was curious about what people buy for a wedding gift. I've never gone to a wedding before. And so I click on the gift registry, and I look, and everybody's spending a good $300-400 for a wedding gift. And that just incensed me. I mean, I can afford it. I don't go to weddings all that much. The problem is that nobody ever gives me a gift in order for me to go look for my future wife, right? And it just felt a little bit unfair, right? The people who are already fortunate enough to meet somebody compatible to marry, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a little bit sensitive here. But see, when I go look for my future wife, I don't like people here in the United States. I usually have to leave the country in order to seriously look for my future wife. And I spent a fortune doing that. And nobody ever subsidizes me to do that, right? I have to sacrifice the rest of the year in order to go on these trips, right? And now somebody's finally getting married. I know he met his wife here in the United States, but he's finally getting married. And now I have to subsidize him to the tune of $300-400. It just doesn't seem right. Right? I don't know. Maybe I'm just making this up. But whatever the case is, I wasn't very happy about it. I'm obviously not very happy when people force me to disclose. See, you would never force your coworker to tell you that he has cancer, right? He goes to the doctor, and that's the end of the story. Oh, what are you getting from the doctor? Do you take drugs for cancer? Are you depressed? No, you would never do that. But when it's food that you're using to treat your medical problems, it's perfectly okay to dig, which is just kind of weird to me. Thanks for watching.